Hi, everybody, and welcome to Authentic Points of View podcast. I am Danielle, and this is
McKenna, I'm back.
she's back. Look at her. Hey, no side eyes right now. She's giving me the side eye. All right. If you can tell, I sound a little funny, and I'm sorry. If you follow me, you see my videos, and I have not been feeling great. It could be the pollen because one day it was 15,000, which if you don't live anywhere with pollen, you might not know that that's high, but holy snipes, it's high. Yesterday, she's laughing at me. Yesterday it was like 8,000 miles out on the mountain, so very fun. Um, anyway, all right, so we're gonna go with the flow. Also, there's a tornado watch where we are, so I apologize if we are frozen. And this guest is amazing. I'm really excited. So hopefully we get to talk to her and it goes smoothly. Because
Isaiah.
oh, McKenna. All right, sorry. My nephew, her cousin is watching. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna get it together. I'm really excited about Teresa Ramirez, and I didn't ask her how to say her name, and I'm very sorry. She is the CEO and founder of Journey and Kindness, which kindness is important to me. It really is. And so she's also an award-winning, best-selling author, motivational speaker, and kindness ambassador for loving parents who want to raise kind children. So excited for her to be here. And McKenna, take it away.
Welcome to the show.
Why is she laughing? Let me tell you why she's laughing, Teresa. I apologize. My nephew wrote hello McKenna. So she's really got a shout out.
So she's reading.
She's very excited about a shout out. And so thank you for watching, by the way, to my nephew. All right. Calm down. She's having a great time already. So are you ready? Yeah, she's back with a vengeance, everybody. We wasn't on the last couple episodes. And what, two of them, right? Yeah. And now today she's roaring and ready to go. And we're excited for you to be here, Teresa. As you see, I never know which way to point with the camera going backwards, but kindness, yeah. Kindness is
We're good.
Yes, I see yours too. So kindness is really important to me. Somebody asked me the other day, I was on a call and I took away my sign and they said, "Is your podcast called Be Kind?" I'm like, no, I just really think it's important. So why is kindness so important to you, and what does it mean to you?
Kindness means lifting up other people. That's my definition. If you're not lifting up other people, you're not being kind. My opinion, my definition. And I'll tell you how this all got started. There was a school shooting down in Florida back in 2018. And no, I didn't know anybody there, but I just was compelled to sit down and write a letter saying, "Dear students," and I sympathized with them, I grieved with them, but then I wanted to do something more. I wanted to empower them. And I have learned that being kind to each other does empower you. It is a superpower. And I wanted those kids to realize that they don't have to wait for laws to change. They don't have to wait for the school to change their policy. They can make a difference, whether that be sitting with that kid that's sitting alone at lunch, picking up the fallen pencils that went all over the hallway, whatever it looks like. But just by being kind to each other, you can change the way your school is. And that's kind of how I got started. And what really drives me, in 2020, everything shut down. I had been talking to kids. Now we're like, okay, we're all on the computer. Everybody's trying to figure out the new normal. And I, like you guys, probably you spend a lot of time on social media. And that's where I found out how cruel adults were being to each other. And I don't know, you, Danielle, if you figured it out. McKenna probably reads what you post. And So what are you posting? Are you posting those kind, positive messages, or are you chewing out another adult over something stupid and
Right.
being just nasty? And that's what I found out, a lot of adults. So I said, I got to get to the parents. I have got to get to the parents, because the kids, whether they realize it or not, they go to their parents as a model for how they are supposed to behave. 9 times out of 10, they're going to model after what their parents are saying and doing. And so that's how I started, just getting in there and saying, what are you modeling for your children?
That's so important. Do you have a question?
Yeah. When did you start?
Speak up.
Okay. When did you start realizing that this was as big as a problem as it was?
She just said. It's okay. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, it was one, it was a school shooting, but it was one of many school shootings. And why that one, I do feel that God kind of called me to say, no, now we got to do something now, and we can do better. And there was also, Kenna, I've done some research. I've done a lot of research. What am I saying? I've done a ton of research. And if you and I exchange an act of kindness, our serotonin levels go up. And serotonin are our happy hormones. And so from one act of kindness, you and I are both happy. But the truly fascinating thing is that anybody else that watched that, their happy hormones are also going up. So that is what really started to say, okay, I've got the proof, I've got the studies. We need to make this happen, because we can make a difference. And people just have to know that it does truly make a difference. Most people kind of say, it's fluffy, it's nice. I helped out with that charity. But there's so much more to it.
Yeah, I love that. So something that I do, and I try to do one kind thing a day. Sometimes it's way more than that. Sometimes I get to the end of the day and I was like, oh, what? But some kind things are like holding doors open. It doesn't have to cost. Like, I hold doors open for people. I go to the laundromat. So when I do that, if somebody has a heavy thing, I might help them with it. It could be anything like that. Sometimes I feel called to like pay for the person behind me or something like that. But it's really important to intentionally like realize, okay, well, have I done anything kind today? Because you could change somebody's life. And I don't talk about the heavy stuff on this because it's for kids. And but my brother died a certain way. And so well, I can say the word suicide, but so I feel like, with him, he might not have felt the kindness or even inside himself. So you never know what somebody's going through that day. And just being kind, like you said, the serotonin and everything, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can say something.
No, I was just going to say, and it is the simple, that's what my book is a blueprint, as I call it, that it's just a simple process to the everyday things and be intentional. And I encourage parents, get up in the morning, where you're going to be. What can you be intentional, start writing? Okay, I can do this to be kind. I can do that to be kind. Yeah. And like you said, it's all about being intentional and really doing it. Because some people will say, well, I've heard all this before. And I'm like, well, are you practicing it? Are you doing it every day, every chance you get?
Yeah. And also like being genuine and being kind. And like you said, when like with me, if I feel reactive to something, first of all, I help clients in certain ways. So like I have to coach myself in my mind. Like if somebody sparks a reaction for me, I'm like, whoop, it's on me. It's not on them. I gotta, but I don't put it on the internet, for goodness sake. So I really don't. I'm like, even if somebody messaged me and I have to think, is this the message that I want to get out there? If everybody read this, is this what I want them to say? And it wasn't even mean. It was just like this guy was talking about me. And I went to message him back and I said, nope. And I said, I'm fine, thank you. And that's all I wrote back. Because no matter what he says to me, it's on me how I react, to things. So your book, can you tell us what it is? That what it is behind you? Is that what it's called? Or
Yeah, it's called, here, I just happen to have a copy. This is Raising Kind Children, and it is an award-winning book. I'm very excited, very proud of that. But it's a quick read, and it's just a process on how you can make it, first of all, kindness, make it as natural as breathing. And that is starting with smiling and saying hello to people, opening doors. I like to use the grocery store because most of us end up in a grocery store at least once a week. And, the simple things like when my son was like 3 or 4 and we were in the grocery store and he threw the biggest temper tantrum on the face of the planet. And I picked him up and put him in the car, and I kept going. I said, because this is like any single parent, any parent. I only have this amount of time. He's going to just have to scream and get over it. And by the time I got to the register, I was just, drained. And I think a lot of parents have been there.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking out the door, a gentleman stopped me and said, "You're doing a good job." For me, that made all the difference in the world. Because at this point, I'm thinking I must be the worst parent in the world because my kid is not doing what he's told and he's screaming his head off for a long time. So yeah, just something like, somebody, you're doing a great job. That's all it took. A very simple thing, doesn't cost anything. But that's, again, people looking to be intentional. Another great grocery store example is a gentleman or woman was in the produce department and she had the crying toddler in the cart, and you could just see it on her face. I just have to get a few things done. And she's trying desperately to open those plastic produce bags. And you could just see, I felt her tension. And a gentleman walked over, took the bag from her, opened it up and handed it back. And then he just left. And the woman's standing here going, "Oh, my life has just taken, all the worries have just been lifted off her shoulders. She's got a whole new aspect." And the child even stopped crying. But it's those little things, and you practice this on every day, and you're making it as natural as breathing. And that's where you want to get, because then you can get into the community sock drives, non-perishable food items, and get the kids all involved in it. And then we can move on to, like you had said, somebody was being nasty and I have to think about how I respond. Well, if you're already making kindness as natural as breathing, those awkward situations are going to be easier for you to react in a kind way versus a let me go back at him way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think that it's good that you're spreading the word that kindness doesn't cost anything, because a lot of people think that it has to be something big, like something like fancy or expensive. That's not what kindness is, because that is like overdoing it. Like, that's nice, but you could have done something for free that needs the same amount.
And that's so true. And or people say, "I can't afford that." Well, I'm asking you to open a door. I'm asking you to smile at somebody. That's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. You can do, and you can do that kind of at school. Smiling at fellow students, your teachers. How about the cafeteria workers nobody ever thinks about, or the custodians? I call those the invisible people because they're there, they're necessary, but sometimes we don't see them. And just reaching out and saying, "Hey, you're doing a great job."
Yeah.
Those kind of little things, even in a school environment, go a long way.
It's really important. And it's not the same thing as a school, but I'm a nurse, and then the hospital, the EVS doesn't come until nighttime. And we got a new one. She's so awesome. And she goes above and beyond and helps, like, in ways that she probably shouldn't. She doesn't have to. She'll like undo the sheets for us and help us and all this stuff. And we make sure that we say thank you, because not that you have to be motivated to be kind, but if somebody doesn't appreciate it, then it makes it a little bit harder, right? Because if she's going above and beyond and we're just being mean to her, well, it's like, that's not fair. But we appreciate and we see what she's doing, and we see the hard work that they do. And it's funny because a lot of people leave before they shine the floors. And so the next morning I worked, I worked 12-hour shifts. So the next day I come in and they're like, oh, look, the floors are shining. I was like, they work hard, And so it's like, and we tell them, hey, you did a great job. It's important. But like in schools, and every time I see, oh, that's such a hard job. But when I see, anybody, their counselors, teacher, the principal, the whatever, I love to say, thank you for what you do. Even if they don't know me, they're like, okay, thank you. They appreciate it. But yeah, she's shaking her head. McKenna is in leadership. So she's in leadership. She's an ambassador, which we talk about ambassador.
Yeah.
And so she is more like, I don't want to say, like, she knows everybody on a different level, even the higher grades. Like, she's very close with the counselor for 8th grade, even though she's in 6th, because, so I know that they have a difficult job, and it's really important what they do. And so you're so cute. Okay. So I can hear the storm. It's fun. All right.
Oh yeah. I have a question, McKenna. In your role, do you do acts of kindness for fellow students or community work, or with the group? Did you bring the students together?
Yes, I try to bring people up every day even when I don't have a meeting, like a leadership meeting or anything. I still try my best. Like even at the beginning of the school year when I wasn't in any clubs or anything, and I was just going from class to class. There was this kid who dropped something, and everybody was just like walking over him because like we only had 3 minutes to get to class. But I was late to class because I was helping him, and I still got in trouble. But it's the kindness that matters.
It is the kindness that matters. And I like to encourage teachers when I talk to them, like what you just did. You helped a kid out in the hallway pick their stuff up. Is that some way acknowledge you? And whether it be, and I know candy's not preferred, but a little Jolly Rancher or a sticker or something that says, yes, I saw you and I saw you doing something good.
I think her school's really good about that. You can, if you want, McKenna, even though we're interviewing her, you can tell her what you guys are doing with the suicide awareness. Like, so she's part of the team, and her uncle, she never got to meet her uncle, but she's part of the team that she makes the poster and everything. And what are you guys doing?
We're doing a choice week that's based on the program SOS, which is Signs of Suicide, and I'm the leader of it, and I basically help with all the activities and all the people that are gonna be there, like the face painter, the cone ice, and everything. And I make the posters and I advertise it the week and then the day.
Oh, I love that. That's
Good
amazing.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And get the kids involved, because that's another thing. As far as your serotonin levels going up when you're working with the other kids, and maybe another kid's down, kind of shift their focus to say, hey, we can help out this kid over here needs help with his math homework, having trouble with it. Things like that. Or this one over here, you read really well. You could help them with their reading skills and lift those up. It's kind of, just shifting the focus from themselves to helping others. And that helps those happy hormones. And that helps reduce, the suicide as well. The anxiety and the stress.
Yes. Yes, go ahead. She said, I have a question. I didn't ask. She goes, for her. I'm like, yes, that's our guest. You may ask it.
So if somebody is upset or sad, and what are some ways that you can help them feel better? Like really dive deep into some ways of kindness for people who are upset.
McKenna, I think some of the one best way is just to listen. Because sometimes people feel alone. I have no one to talk to. I have no one to do anything. So if you see a kid that's definitely down, sit down next to them. Say, how's your day going? What's the best thing that happened to you today? What's something that might be upsetting you today? Oh, they're open-ended questions. So they have to give you more than a yes or no answer or a shrug. They have to give you more. And, and just sit and listen to what they have to say. That's number one. Because then you're somebody, they know you're somebody that cares. I can give you guys a great example of that.
Yeah.
I walk my dog. I've got a great bike trail in the parks behind me. It's wonderful. And everybody might have this cute little 10-pound dog. Everybody, like, she's so cute. We want to pet her. Okay. And so the woman came up, asked to pet her. I said, oh, sure. But then we were on the steps. She sits down. And of course, my dog, heaven forbid, she doesn't get any attention. She jumps up into the woman's lap like my mommy ignores me all the time. But the woman starts petting her. And then she starts to talk and she has tears. Uh-oh. I didn't see this coming. And my husband died 6 months ago. And I just lost my beloved dog 2 weeks ago. And she just I sit there, I'm trying not to bawl myself because I'm just my heartbroken for her. And she's petting the dog and she just continues to talk. I don't know how long we sat there, but then she finally stops, takes a deep breath, stands up, wiping her tears away. And she said, thank you. I haven't felt that good in months. I didn't do anything. I let her pet my dog and I listened. But you never know what somebody's going through. So if you have the opportunity, just sit and listen to somebody. And maybe you won't know what a good thing you did, but they do.
That's so sweet. And I love that. I love those situations. And you're such a great person. And thank you for being such a wonderful person. And I have those situations as well that mean so much to me. That's why I went into grief and trauma coaching, because at one point I was going to help parents with neurodivergent kids because I have my son is neurodivergent. And so I got to the point where people were just coming up to me telling me who they lost, not me being a nurse. I'm not even at work. I'm everywhere else. And I'm like, no, my calling is to help people with that. But it feels so good to listen and to make them feel good just by being there, Hi.
Yeah. And then we have a guest. This is Marvin.
Hi, Marvin.
We have a cat.
He's feeling a little neglected.
Oh no.
We have a cat.
We can talk about being kind to animals.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were walking Noelle, and this time we were on the street, and we kept hearing this pitiful cry. And this woman comes running out of her house, and she said, I can't find it. It's under my car. I can't get it. I've got to go to work. I'm going to be late. And she's all upset, but she said, I don't want to hurt the cat by starting the car. I don't know exactly where it's at. And, I had somebody bring out tuna. Somebody else brought a cat carrier. We're all trying to coax this cat out from underneath the car. And it was taking forever. The poor woman was late for work. I feel bad. But all of a sudden, Noelle sticks her nose up into the wheel well. Well, lo and behold, this little black nose sticks its head back out. We hadn't been able to even see it. We had no idea. And so I put her on a stay on the sidewalk. That cat moved so fast right there and we were able to scoop it up and get it in the carrier. And obviously, he weighed 1 pound.
Oh,
he fit right in my hand and he only weighed 1 pound. Obviously now he weighs a little more. This is 3 years later. But that's just, be kind to animals. And I will give my please spay and neuter your pets, so that there's thousands of Marvins under a car somewhere. And it just makes me sad. So if you please spay and neuter your pets on my Be Kind to Animals kick there.
No, so cute. You can tell her. You didn't hear what McKenna was saying,
No, I didn't.
We just got a black kitten, how many months? A few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
A few months ago, and his name is Shadow, and he's so cute. And he used to be this small, but now he's getting bigger.
They do that. And the vet is like, you can stop feeding him now.
Oh. Okay.
One more thing. And then we have a white cat, and her name is Jasmine. And then we have what kind of?
So Whiskers was found underneath a house, but he is they think he's mixed with Maine Coon. So he's beautiful. But he's very sassy. We should have called him sassy, but but he's so cute. But okay. So be kind to animals is very important. Just be kind, period. Animals and babies and can read your energy and know if you are a good person. So sorry, back into kindness of adults too and humans and kids. 3 tips on how to be kind in difficult situations. Can you tell us what those are?
Yes, I can. Yeah. And again, it'll be easier to be kind if you're practicing it with your day-to-day activities like we've been talking about. And when you're faced with someone yelling at you, someone being nasty to you, you can stop, take a deep breath, and a technique I use is just take your pause. So however that looks for you, and just if someone comes at you being nasty, take a deep breath and let it out. And what I tell parents is a fun way to get the kids to practice is blowing bubbles.
Yay, that's fun.
Because you have to take that deep breath and let it out. And this is a great way to help kids practice taking that pause. So when another kid comes up to them being nasty, they don't start being nasty back. And I had one situation where I went to lunch with a friend. And the service was really slow. And finally somebody came up and she said, she had her pad and her pen. What do you want? And we're like, okay. And, we had a couple questions on the menu. I don't know. I was told to come over here and take your order. What do you want? We're like, oh, boy. And my friend and I are looking at each other going, oh, this is going to be good. So we placed our order. We did get our food. We got exactly what we wanted. But I don't think, how they come and refill coffees and waters. I don't think she did any of that. And when we were about done eating, she comes back to the table, slams the bill on the table. I'm not talking place it. I'm talking, she slammed it. And my friend and I had to make a decision because we did have every right to call over the manager and complain about her. We were well within our rights. But I said, we did talk about it. And I thought, no, we're going to do something else. So we paid the bill, left a normal tip. And on her receipt, I put a smiley face and wrote, you are designed to shine. No. Then we just gathered our stuff up and walked on out the door. Lo and behold, she chases us down in the parking lot and says to me, thank you. I really needed to hear that today.
No.
You never know what someone is going through. So choose that kindness route. And we had to take a pause. We had to sit back and say, what are we going to choose? We had our right to complain, but we chose the kindness route. And who knew it made all the difference to her? And then we think it made all the difference to the other customers that came behind us. So yeah, there was a ripple effect that happened. We didn't get to see it, but we know it happened. So that's one technique, is that she was angry, but she really wasn't angry at us.
Right.
She was angry about what happened last night, last week, whatever happened before she got here. It had nothing to do with us. We were just in the way. So that's where the pause is really important when there was really awkward situation. So that's one thing to do. Another one is humor. Now you got to be careful. Don't use sarcasm because not everybody understands your sarcasm. But road rage, great example. And I was personally pulling off an exit ramp, and I'm sitting on the exit ramp. The guy ahead of me gets out of the car, and he is yelling and waving his hands, and he's coming right for me. And I'm like, uh-oh, I have no idea what I did to this day. I have no idea what I did to make him so mad, which is the case in most road rage situations. People do not know they did something wrong. So I'm sitting here going, this guy is going to beat me up in my car. What am I going to do? Well, there was a reason, but I won't tell you. What I did was get out my clown nose. And then I just waved through the windshield, and he couldn't stop fast enough. He's like, oh my gosh, whipped around, went back in his car, went about his day. And I always to this day wonder what he told people when he got to his destination about the crazy lady with the clown nose. So you can use, if you can rattle off the one-liners, I really stink at that, so I don't. But I do like props, and I am not afraid to put a clown nose on. So, but what happens is it startles people. You stop, and then if a conversation is needed, you can have a nice, calm conversation and talk it out. You know, you can use it I say parents can use it. You walk into your room and you've got two kids going at it. They're just fighting. And you can put the clown nose on and say, okay, neutral corners, stop. Now, if it's my kids, they're going to say, okay, there she goes again. But then they stop. And then you can sit them down and say, okay, what's going on? He wanted to play on the PlayStation longer, wanted to do this, whatever the case is. He already had his 15 minutes, whatever. But you can talk it out and work it out. And that's the whole point of a lot of these, is that it stops you from that irrational train of anger and resentment. And like we talked about before, it's all how you react. You can't change how they react,
right?
But you can change how you react. And the last technique I have, I started off with a quote by W.C. Fields. Just because you're invited to an argument doesn't mean you have to attend. So if somebody's arguing with you, trying to, I mean, how many times, Danielle, have you been pulled into a argument and you don't even realize you're in it until you're halfway through? You're like, how did I get here? I don't want to be arguing over this. Yeah. It happens. It does. It happens all the time. So you want to decide, do I need to be right? Or do I need to be kind? And you can say things like, that's interesting. Thank you for your opinion. I'll give it some thought. And those kinds of things stop that argument. It shuts it down. They have nowhere else to go with that. So that's always helpful. And then sometimes you just have to walk away. Mm-hmm. Just walk away from it. You just don't, there's nothing. You can't, you've tried your techniques, nothing worrying, and just say, I'll see you later, and just walk away.
Yeah. Wow. Those are great. I love them. And I want to ask McKenna, who is almost 12, and 6th grade girls are so fun. And they love to go bibbidi bibbidi boo, bibbidi boo, bibbidi boo. So that's what it sounds like to me, McKenna. Don't give me that. Bibbidi friendly. Bibbidi boo is friendly. Bibbidi boo. That's more friendly than so how do you feel about what she just said, and how do you think you can implement that in your life at school?
I think that I can apply that to my life, really, because I like making jokes, so the humor one will be really good for me. And
there you go.
Yeah, but at school there's a lot of drama, and I always somehow get pulled into it, and I don't want to be into it because I don't want to get in trouble. So yeah. I'll definitely use some of those at school.
So what?
Yeah, so you're in the drama. You don't have to join that argument. You don't have to, just because you're invited. And then just say, you can do that. That's interesting. Really, really. Or I'll, great opinion. I'll give it some thought. Great idea. I'll give it some thought, and then toodle on off.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because I tell her that all the time. She's a great kid. She's in Bible study. They make baskets for homeless. She's a great kid. She loves to be kind and help people, but she also a little bit likes the drama where she'll repeat it to me, and I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't like, if like, you don't have to tell me who this one and this one was fighting and this and that. That's like, to me, I'm not saying that children are toxic, but that's the kind of negative energy that I just don't want to invite. And it's not that she can't talk to me about anything. She can, but I feel like her taking that is just drawing it into our house, and we're not involved. So she likes to help people so this is the kind of kid that I was. It's people made fun of me. When there was a physical fight, I would go run and get help. And people would make fun of me because they were like, they loved the fight. And I'm like, no, I would go get the adults. I would make sure everybody was okay. And so many, many years later, now I'm a nurse and I help people, and I'm a life coach, and I'm the author and speaker and all that stuff too. But I've always I'm not going to say in every situation in my whole life I've been kind. That's not true. I mean, I was a young mom, and I made mistakes, but for the most part of my life, even as a child, I would try to help people and be kind. But thank goodness, for the most part, I didn't care what people thought about that, because people would make fun of me, and I still was the same way. But my kids so much are not. Two of them are not so much like that. She doesn't like fighting, but she's 11, so she's like, "Ooh, what's happening?" She's like, I feel like that's true. But
there's a lot of adults who say, "Ooh, a fight," and will do the same thing. So I can't really say that it's just the kids that do that. Adults do it all the time.
That's right.
And I am by far not perfect. And I have my moments too where I'm not kind. I get tired, the things happen. But what I want to say to you, McKenna, is, did you know, if you do join into the argument, if you do join into the fight, you're giving the glory to the devil.
Ooh.
But if you choose not to accept that invitation to the argument, the fight, the drama, you're giving the glory to God.
Wow. That's deep. She said that's
something to think about.
It is deep. But that's a good thing, because it is deep, but those things they're thought provoking. So when you're about to do something and you think, oh wow, am I glorifying God or the devil? That makes you go, whoop, halt. Makes you think, seriously. You're so awesome. I love all your advice. And again, also because I love kindness. So I'm like, but no, it's really important. So when you teach the parents, what exactly are you, other than them leading by example, what are some things that you would teach the parents out there listening right now to show their kids to be kind through them? Not through them, but
Yeah, the thing I emphasize mostly is that they are their kids' role model, whether they think they are or not. And if you're posting the nasty stuff online, your kid's going to think that's okay too. If you're the one yelling and you're in the car behind the wheel yelling and screaming, the 15-year-old that's going to be driving next year is watching that saying, oh, when I get behind the wheel, I can do that too.
Right.
Yeah, you're giving your kids, so what you're modeling, you're giving your kids permission to do the same thing. Gossip, not that I think you're gossiping, Danielle, but those other girls, what are their parents doing at the soccer field, at the basketball game on the sidelines, at the ballet class, at the chess club? What are they doing on the sidelines? And because their kids are picking that up. So gossip is not, God doesn't like gossip either. So, but again, your kids see and hear everything you're doing. whether you think they can or not. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, I do whatever I want in the car because kids are in the back seat with headphones on. So I did a test. I have great nieces and nephews, so I did a test. They heard every little thing I said, and because I would say things. And what do you think? Well, we think da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So they do. They hear it, they see it, they're watching you. So what are you doing? Are you being the CEO of the family? Do you have control? Are you setting values and philosophies you want to instill in your children? You have to make that decision first. What do you want your children to do, to model? And then you be the model.
Yeah, I love that. It's really important. And like I said, so I had kids at 18 and 20, and then I had her at 30, and I have a bonus son in between. But my mindset, I have changed a lot. And so I can't go back and fix how I behaved with the other ones, but it's really important that they see they're grown men, three of them, and that they see. And again, it wasn't that I wasn't kind. It's just that, I made choices and decisions and things that I look back and I'm like, well, could have probably chose that differently, or the job or whatever. But now my second son is a father, and he is a kick butt amazing father. And he didn't really have his father in his life, but he was getting in trouble. He's the one, he had several diagnoses, and he had an IEP at school, all this stuff. And so he says to me now, thank you for all that you did and all that you taught me. Even though he wasn't listening in his teens, he's like, but now he applies it. And now that he's a parent, he understands, how it is. Being a parent is, it's a lot. So, but
well, and it's funny you say that because you were a single parent. I was a single parent. I have now two adult sons.
Yeah.
And I didn't always do it right either. I'm not even close. And it's funny, my youngest son and I were talking about it, and he goes, yeah, you're cranky. And I said, yeah, I was. I was always kind to a certain extent. So that while we're talking, it's also important to be kind to yourself.
Right. I was going to say that. Yep.
Okay. Because if your kindness tank is empty, you're going to be cranky. You're going to be tired, and so you need to fill up your kindness tank so that you can continue to be kind, like I did not. So, and that can mean getting up 15 minutes early before everybody else with that cup of coffee and just having that quiet moment to pray, to meditate, to pray or meditate, whatever. Yes, stop, Marvin.
He's cute.
He's a camera hog anyway. But just, whatever that looks like for you. I know one mom told me, when I come home from work, I tell the kids run for me, and I say, I put my hand up, I need 15 minutes. She goes into her room, has that quiet 15 minutes, comes back out, and she's ready to roll. We're going to all the activities, we're getting dinner going, whatever happens, she's now ready to face that and do it in a kind, calmer manner.
Yeah. And that's important. And then she said self-care. But yeah, it is important. And that's something that I didn't really do or focus on. Yeah. And it's very important because, like you said, your kindness tank, like if you're exhausted, and then sometimes I'm still guilty of it. Like I work 12, 13 hours and go pick her up at night only to see her for a few minutes for her to go, because my mom is, I appreciate my mom. She'll have her, she's already in the shower and like all that stuff. So she's ready for bed. And then, I'm tired, but I still want to see her for a few minutes, but I'm like, you've got to go to bed. Like, I feel like it's me because I haven't seen her, but it's not me not being kind, but also I have to take care of myself because I have to, she has to go to school and I have to get up and do it again, so it's like, it's important to make sure, like they say on airlines, which I never understood it until it makes sense now, but give yourself the oxygen mask first to help other people. And so same thing with kindness. Make sure that you have enough to give out and you're not just draining yourself and now you're like but go ahead and ask that.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
My teacher says that kindness is a train and you can choose to hop on it or stay wherever you are.
Oh, I like that.
I like that. I hadn't heard that one. I like that. Yes.
And the counselor say
Oh. Miss Emma. Oh, I love.
It's kind of like a school-wide thing.
She has really amazing. She goes to middle school in Ackworth, Georgia, but she has amazing. No offense to the men, but lots of them are women. The counselors are women. The principal's a woman. The assistant principal's a woman. Like
there's 3 assistant principals.
3?
Everybody in the office is a woman.
Oh wow. So, but they're so supportive and kind, but also strict and do discipline. But they're so wonderful. They're smiling. They know everybody's names. They really care, and I just love them. Like absolutely love them. And so I'm so blessed and grateful that she gets to be surrounded by these amazing. And not just because they're women, but just amazing support there. They're very great at a lot of things. They don't take kindly to not being kind. They really know bullying, all that stuff, and I just really love that about them. Can you ask about?
Yeah. Can you explain what the program Home for Life is?
Oh, the Home for Life program. That is for women who are facing unplanned pregnancies.
No.
So we give them, and they choose not to have an abortion, but they need a place to live, job skills, things like that, so that when after they have the baby, and they can make the decision whether they want to keep the baby or give it up for adoption, and we help with all those things. And most of them keep their babies, so we just help them with the care after the baby's born. And then they, the last 2 I had, they had gotten their own housing, got their own jobs, and they're doing great. So, but it's just, we give them a leg up to help them through a difficult time that they needed help with. And, sometimes families turn people out or they're not supportive, and we're that support that they didn't have.
That is beautiful. I talk about it a lot, but I just started talking about it for the last few months. But when I was pregnant with my second son, I lived in a homeless shelter, and so it was me and my 1.5-year-old, and so somewhere like that, like to give young ladies the support that they need, because it's a really scary thing. And no matter what age you are when you're having a kid, it's scary, even if it's planned or not planned. But yeah, so that's so beautiful. I love that. And you are awesome. What area is that foundation in?
It is in Monroe, Ohio, which is about halfway between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Awesome.
And I know, I know there's one in a different organization, but they do the same thing in the Nashville area. Awesome. So there are out there. You just might have to look a little, but they are different ones across the country. One thing I wanted to go back to, in self-care, I kind of encourage parents, you need to show your child kindness. So I say, I love sticky notes, put them up on the bathroom mirrors. You're awesome. You rock. You're smart. You've got this. Or even like McKenna, if you had studied for the big math test and you were all stressed out, if you had just stuck a little note in her backpack that says, you've got this, those kind of things. And you can also do the same thing with your spouse. Little note by, I appreciate you. Put it next to their coffee mug. Those kind of things. But you can also do the same thing for yourself and put it on your bathroom mirror. So that's the first thing you see in the morning. You are awesome. And put it in big letters. So you're being kind to you and you're awesome. But sometimes we're tired. We're having a bad day. that'll just start your day off right.
I love that advice. So I since oh boy, September maybe, I think I've been doing positive affirmations every day, and it really helps me get through the day. And it's really important. It's changed like how I see myself, how I feel about so many things, help me in different aspects of my life. And I try to get her to do them with me, but it's a little bit harder for you know, kids her age. But it does also help me with my kindness throughout the day too, because I feel like I'm on the right like, and I pray and meditate too, but like it helps me get in the right mindset before I go face work or whatever's going on. And so I love the notes. Her and I started, and it did not continue. We started at the beginning of the school year. We're like, we're gonna write each other notes every day. We have these little things we were gonna put in each other's lunches. And then it was like a few weeks. We did it what, a couple weeks?
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And it was sweet and we loved it, but we just didn't keep up with it.
Next year we're gonna do it the whole year.
We are?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I started getting school lunch, and then.
Well, yeah. I could put it in your book bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not put it in.
You can ask the question. Go ahead.
If you could go back to your 13-year-old self and ask yourself something, what would you ask?
No, tell yourself something. Sorry.
What would you tell?
So the question is, what would I tell my 13-year-old self?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I would tell myself that I'm enough.
Yes.
And that I am worthy. Because I think I lost that somewhere along the line. I've gotten it back, obviously, since an adulthood, but I know there were years in those teenage years where I didn't think I was worthy, didn't think I was enough. So I would definitely go back and do that.
That is so awesome. That is my favorite affirmation, by the way, is I am enough. It's my favorite one, because we need to remind ourselves that, and I say it to others too. And this message that you have is just so beautiful. And I'm really, really grateful that you came and spoke with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you probably have answered this, but we ask everybody, how would you tell somebody to become their, or like that's trying to become their authentic self? Because our podcast is Authentic Points of View. So what advice would you give somebody about, I can't even word it, McKenna, can you help me?
How would you explain or tell somebody how they can be a better version of themselves?
Sure, that's a good one.
Better version of their authentic self.
Quit listening to everybody else.
Yeah.
Just be you and shut out all the noise, and get those positive affirmations out and listen to them. Not only say them, but record them and listen to them.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I'm gonna have to start doing that. And then when I have, so when you talked about like in difficult times, I love those techniques. And so as a nurse, and I've been hit in restaurants too. I've been smacked, I've been grabbed, I've been called the B word, I've been called the stupidest person in the world. But I also back then would get made fun of because people would say, I would do this, I would do that. So that's you, not me. And I literally, this is way before I was a life coach, way before I was a nurse. I was working in a restaurant, and this guy, who was not a very nice guy. This was in Ohio, St. Clairsville, Ohio, if you ever heard of it. And
Yes.
I lived there, well, not in St. Clairsville, but I lived in Ohio for 11 and a half years. And anyway, I was a waitress, and he was upset because his food was taking long. I do not cook the food, sir. But anyway, so he got mad at me. I come up there. He smacked me, grabbed my wrist, told me I was a B word and I was the stupidest person he had ever met. And then I had to be nice to him. And the manager made me keep being his waitress, even though he assaulted me. He didn't do anything about it. He didn't like say anything to him or anything. And yeah, so I had to be subjected to abuse. That's wrong. Okay. That's wrong.
It's wrong. Just because you're kind does not mean you have to be a doormat.
Right.
And in a situation like you just described, that's assault.
Yeah.
You can press charges and it's okay.
Yeah, but he did not let me. So anyway, I had to be nice to him. That's fine. And then the other tables were like, what's going on? Now let me rewind when I was a restaurant manager at 20 something years old. Hold on. We will ask that. Thank you. She's interrupting. She's like, you're talking too much. No, but when I was a restaurant manager at 20 something years old, there was a man. I actually went to high school with him. He is a good young man. There was a country bar down the road. This was in Maryland. And so there's these people sitting there from the country bar at one table. My friend was sitting there playing his rap music. The country bar people did not like that. Well, I can't say he was my friend, but my schoolmate. So they called the cops on him at the restaurant. He didn't do anything wrong. Instead of saying, hey, turn that down, they called him a racial slur, called the cops on him. The cops came and tried to take him away. And I said, no, sir, he didn't do anything wrong. So when the police left, I let him eat his food because he did nothing wrong. I told him, hey, turn it down a little bit. Let him eat his food. And told those people if they wanted to be like that, then they can leave, because that's not how we treat people in the world. And so that kindness meant a lot to him. And then everybody around there sees that I'm not going to tolerate that. That's not okay. So, the way that I was a manager and spoke up for someone, that guy didn't even, I was his employee and he didn't even speak up for me, but I had the choice of how I was going to react, and this was many, many years ago. And so I'm not condoning violence. It's not okay. But
no.
It's on me, not what he did to me. I have to see, am I going to let it ruin my whole day? Because then I would have treated everybody horrible the whole day probably. But I didn't choose to do that. So McKenna wants to ask you. Go ahead, McKenna.
Go ahead.
Where can we find you?
You can find me at journeyandkindness.com. And there is a contact list there. That you can find. And I do also, and I know you're going to share these links, but I do want to offer all your audience 75 acts of kindness. And it's just a list. So if parents are out there, they don't know where to start. They're like, yeah, be intentional. What do I do? Here's 75 ways. And it starts out with a smile and a hello. And it graduates to something big like planting trees to save the planet.
That's amazing.
So, and there's a lot of ideas in between.
Sorry, we're trying to type it. We're not very smooth with stuff. There we go. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And I have another link for the free list that I'll share with you.
Okay. Yes, I'll put that in the show notes, and I'll put it on the videos that are live and people can go back. It also goes to audio, so I'm going to put that on there too, so people that listen on Spotify or Apple or Google or whatever, they can find that as well. That's so awesome. I love that. All right. Thank you so much for being patient and kind to us when we're just doing things last minute, and it's my internet was cutting in and out earlier, but I hope it was okay the whole time. Or
yeah, it was. It was
okay, perfect.
I just put that other link in there.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, do you have anything?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being your guest.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a great, wonderful conversation.
Yes, great. Thank you for putting that there. Yes, I agree. You have like a beautiful spirit, and you just like your smiling is contagious. And
it is.
So, yeah, I used to write when I was a restaurant manager at a different restaurant. I used to write that kindness is one thing we could give away for free, and I would have like a quote every week. But that was my favorite one because it doesn't cost, like we said, to be kind. So Thank you so much. Oh, I need the link to your book as well, so I can add that. So if they want to, is it on Amazon or other places?
It's on Amazon, and I'll
Okay.
share that here in a sec.
Okay, wonderful. And so we'll add that to the show notes as well. Thank you so much. Hopefully, parents, you got something from this interview, and children as well. You're awesome. I hope you have a great day, Teresa. And thank you so much for being a wonderful guest and teaching us about kindness.
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share kindness.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye. McKenna, look, she's like, say the guest for next week. I don't know, McKenna. Thank you for putting me on the spot. But we will be on at 3 p.m. next week. Oh, also, everybody, we will probably be traveling. Hopefully, I feel better. We will be traveling. We might have to do the podcast in a car. I don't know, but we'll be here. So thank you for pointing that out. All right, have a great day. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.